It's whipped cream and mayonnaise mixed together as nightmare cream.
And left out for about a month.
Oh, God. Nightmare Cream Grim is a cursed creature.
Welcome to Video Game Podtimism. It is the Podtimists video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is still Chase.
My name is also still David.
Do you hear the soft, dulcet tones of a new era, David?
I do hear them. Do you feel like there's a different timbre to your room now? Is it like is it softer? Does it feel more secluded?
See, the ceiling is a little lower, but the room is quite long. And so I'm not really sure. My hope is that if I just don't speak loud enough, the lack of anything in this room and thereby the echo in it will not be super apparent. Because I moved. I got this new pod space. I don't know what I'm doing out here. I'm a little baby bird, shaky little legs.
Yep.
And mama trying to teach me to fly. You know, like it's intense out here right now. But I'm trying to not have the echo in this one. It's not.
Yeah. Is there like any sort of like echo canceling ability?
Stuff. Mostly just stuff. You got to fill the space with stuff, which right now it's just boxes. It's just boxes in here. And like, they're all the way over there. I've been just relentlessly trying to unpack. And I will say, I think I'm going to cancel purchases. Like just buying and purchasing goods, even bartering, trading, nothing. I think we're done.
These tariffs are doing it for you.
That's true. I think I'm somehow the one guy who's like, all right, great. We don't have to buy anything anymore because there's just too much shit.
There's a lot of stuff.
Moving really will put into perspective just the futility of your purchases. The amount of times I looked at something and either went, I don't remember buying this, or I do remember buying this, and good Lord, I have not used it at all. So many knickknacks and things. I don't need all this shit.
Yeah, absolutely. It is shocking how much stuff we collect over time.
Yeah. The mere existence across cultures, creed, everything of a junk drawer. Everyone has one. And just the existence of that, I think, is proof that we all need to like maybe pull back a little bit, you know?
Rethink our decisions.
Yes, everybody has one of those. Everybody has a junk drawer. And my experience of packing said junk drawer was there was one pair of scissors in there that I was like, nice, that's good to have. Everything else is trash.
It's trash.
Everything else is trash.
Throw it in the trash.
It's like old nasty chopsticks, 100 mild sauces from Taco Bell, ketchup that probably tastes like 1997, just nothing, absolutely nothing good. Glue that is hardened and not able to be used at all.
Oh my God. These are all things you found in your junk drawer.
This is my junk drawer. Yeah.
Yeah, junk drawer, totally useless. Junk in the trunk drawer.
Junk in the trunk drawer, absolutely critical.
That's something special.
Is the implication that you put a butt in a drawer, David? Is that?
I don't know if it's like you put a butt in the drawer and you just pull it out and just do some bongos on it.
Yeah.
Or
this
it's
is
just
where
like,
I keep my ass.
This is when I'm really trying to just have a dump truck. I just open my junk in the trunk drawer and pull out my extra butt.
Yeah, I got to put on my going out ass.
I have to, my going out ass. We're going to the nice steakhouse tonight. I got to put on my going out ass.
My business casual butt.
My business casual booty. Would the going out ass be different than like if you like a formal event ass? Are you having a more like demure ass for a formal event?
I think a formal ass is a little bit more modest. I mean, it is the junk in the trunk drawer, so like it's still wagon-esque, but
sure.
I think flaunting it slightly less, you know? But like
sure,
you see somebody at a wedding and you'd still be like, whoa, wow.
So is it like actual butt cheeks in there, or is it just like you just grab a couple handfuls of ass and depending on how much you want for the event, you either take more or less from the junk in the trunk drawer?
I was imagining a sort of slide on and off, kind of clip in, almost switch to magnetic Joy-Con sort of situation.
Switch to God. So, but like if you can't buy the ass too, you can still buy the ass, right?
Yeah, you still got the ass one. The ass one doesn't have mouse mode though, which is
doesn't have mouse mode, doesn't have magnets,
doesn't have the C button.
It's got some great stick drift though, so come for the games, stay for the stick drift.
Have you been playing video games, David?
I have been playing video games.
I would love to hear about them.
Yeah, I haven't been playing all that many video games right now, to be honest, just with other things going on in my life that I have to get in a row right now. But I have been playing some things.
Great. The lead up there. You already beat 1,000 Times Resist. I don't know that there could be another like shocking revelation that has happened since then.
No. There's no revelations. There's pretty much just like I'm clawing for something as good right now. I'm just jumping between some things. I've still been playing Persona 3 Reload. Very good game, don't get me wrong, but I don't know what to do right now. I feel like it's kind of leaving me in the lurch a little bit. I'm just going through the days and I'm just waiting for something to happen, I guess, until I can go further up into the tower, and just in the meantime hanging out with my friends and I guess trying to help my friend date his teacher, which seems weird.
I abandoned that social link so quickly.
Yeah, the issue is that he's like, all of my personas right now are the link that are the type that his like interactions increase. So we're on a wild ride together right now, and we'll see just where this goes. Yeah, so Persona 3 Reload, still been playing that, and also Cat Quest 3.
But you're back in it. Yeah,
it's a great fun game for two people to play together when they are just trying to hang out and interact and have a good time. I don't think there's much else to say about it other than that. It's fun. It's a good game. It's relaxing.
Sure.
But yeah, I went to Oakland this weekend and to see a friend, a couple friends really, and I do have one board game to talk about.
Please, yeah, hell yeah. So rarely get the opportunity to do so.
It's a deck building game, Chase, so you would like it.
Talk to me, yeah.
It's called Hero Realms. Hero Realms. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. You start off with just a regular basic deck, and then there are enemies you can buy in the middle, or cards you can buy in the middle that are coated with certain suits. And of course, the different suits of cards synergize with each other to give you better power. So each card that you buy has like a base power. And then if you have one other of that same type of card in your hand, then you get to activate the second, even better power. So there's like cards that will, and suits that will heal you. There are suits that will give you a lot of money. There are suits that will do a bunch of damage to other players. And you're pretty much just fighting against the other players at the table, whittling down their health points and just trying to be the last person standing. Yeah. And it was fun. It took a lot of turns. I betrayed a friend of mine. I killed him. I killed him because I had the exact amount of damage to take him down to 0. And when it presents to me that way, I have to do it, right? It's what you have to do. So that was fun. A little betrayal. Friend betrayal is always a good way to spend a weekend vacation away. Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was an interesting game. I really loved the art of the cards. The art is really cool. It's very swords and sorcery, so I am into it. Great names for some of these cards in this game. Valius Fire Dragon.
Good. Yeah.
Cool name.
That
very
is a cool name.
Like FromSoft-esque names.
Yeah.
Great game. Very fun. Allowed for betrayal of friends, which is always a good time.
Sure. Is everybody just kind of like gun standoff, looking at each other, trying to decide like who's going to attack who, sort of thing?
It is definitely one of those games where it becomes a social game. Yeah. Especially with two couples playing, because then it's like, do I betray my betrothed? Do I betray my friend's significant other? Or do I betray my friend? And it's usually, the answer is I betray my friend.
I think so. Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah. It's a good game. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was silly fun. It's not a hard game to learn. You just pick up and play, and you have fun. You have a fun time.
That's great. I love that. Seems kind of like Dominion in a way.
It is very Dominion. Yeah. Arcus Imperial Dragon. That's another good one.
It's very FromSoft. I feel like between FromSoft and Bungie, like both those companies could name anything and make it cool,
Absolutely. I want them to name me, like rename me, name me something cool.
It's just David again. They arrive back at the perfect form.
No, name me something cooler.
I think David's plenty cool.
Okay, I appreciate that. Tyrannor. Good name. Tyrannor.
Are you just searching through the cards to look for cool ones right now?
To look for cool names. I'll just keep on shouting out cool names when I find them. There's a lot of cards.
I'll be like halfway through talking about whatever shitty game I've got. Then you'll be like, Flexor the Destroyer.
Rayla Endweaver. Myro Skilled Mage.
Of course, yeah.
Wolf Shaman. Good names. Good names. I want to learn more about these characters. But that's really it I've been playing. I have not been playing a whole lot of things.
Hell yeah.
Recently.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been really mostly just satiating my gaming desires by just watching videos of people freaking out about the Switch 2's price.
Yeah. Do you want to freak out about the Switch 2 price? How do you feel about the Switch 2 price?
I might get flamed for this. I feel like it's a fair price for what they are offering. Mm-hmm. When you look at its specs compared to a Steam Deck, it compares favorably. And then for me, I also personally will pay a little bit more to have something that is thinner and lighter in my hands. Mm-hmm. Like holding a Steam Deck feels like I am holding a computer.
It's heavy. Yeah.
Holding a Switch, I have not held a Switch 2, so I can't speak to it, but holding a Switch feels like I am holding a game console, right? Yeah. Something that is designed to be held. A Steam Deck is ergonomic, but I don't know if they really want you to hold it for prolonged periods of time.
Yeah.
At least my hands don't want to do that. So yeah, I think it's a fair price. It is, if those tariffs did take effect. I know he's paused them for 90 days, but who cares what he says at this point?
It's just chaos. Yeah. Who knows?
Then that is an insane price for it. That's the PS3 was $600 when it came out. So would be about the same price as the PS3 when it came out, 15, 16 years later after the fact?
Yeah.
So it's still cheap. It would still be cheaper than that. But I think the more egregious thing are the prices of the games. The game prices are a lot. But at the same time, if it leads to game developers getting paid and having not so shitty work environments, I'm all for it. Yeah. But if it's just to keep up with the Joneses as far as these companies are concerned of they're raising prices, I gotta do it too, then I'm not for it. But we'll see. And at the same time, I play Nintendo games, first party Nintendo games that are going to be priced that high a lot. Those games give you a lot. It's not a short experience. And then if it's interesting, because then you start going back to that mindset in the aughts of is this game worth the price tag on it? Do you get enough entertainment out of it to justify the price tag? And I think we're back there. And the fact that we weren't thinking about that probably does mean that games were relatively cheap for a while, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's very interesting to see everyone's reaction to this. Of course, the younger generation, I think rightfully saying this is too much money, but then the old heads coming in and I remember paying $80 for E.T. the Extraterrestrial back in the day, and that game sucked. So
it's not all that helpful in the moment.
No, it's not all that helpful. It's ignoring the very legitimate gripe that people are having right now.
Yeah.
And I think is more intended to minimize people's reactions to it than actually have a conversation with it.
Yeah.
But for me, I think that I am a unique case, maybe not a unique case. I don't buy a whole lot of games at their starting value.
Yeah.
I wait typically. I know that Nintendo games typically do not go down
they simply
often or at all. Mm-hmm. But, there's still going to be so many great games that are going to be cheaper than this that are going to come out. Whenever Silksong comes out, we'll see. Who knows?
I still don't buy it. We saw it in the direct and I'm like, nah, this is all fake. There's no way.
But it wasn't, the concerning thing is that it was not something that was highlighted for a long period of time or really felt like they were shining a bright light on hey, look what's coming. It was oh yeah, Silksong 2. Yeah. That's also coming. We promise. It's totally real. Yeah. So there was a sliver of hope there, but who knows with that game. So yeah, I'm mixed. I think it's going to change people's gaming habits for sure. Games being this expensive. And I'm curious to see how this has an effect on game streaming services. If, there will be more people coming to those, if those are going to get more expensive as well. And just the whole entire ecosystem of how people value a piece of software.
Yeah.
And if, the folks who are championing better working conditions and pay for game developers can back that up with their wallet. But at the same time, the other counter argument is, okay, why aren't the developers or the producers, the production companies just paying these people more and just taking less of a profit? But
correct. Yeah.
Alas, we live in a capitalist society and that's just not going to happen unless there's a revolution. So yeah,
or some good unions. Problem. That's also an option.
Or some good unions. Yeah.
It's bizarre. I've also had sort of like mixed feelings about the whole thing. Like $450 is a lot. That's a lot of money. My brain, I think, also sort of knee jerk goes in the direction of like PlayStation 3 was so expensive and that kind of shit. And like, you know, they dropped the price down to $300 and then the PlayStation 3 sold a bunch. So like, you know, maybe that's the move. But like, then I also go to the like inflation argument, but I also understand that like people just have less money now than they did a while back. And so like, I understand that like, you know, $1 in 2000 is different than $1 in 2025, but also, you know, I think it's harder for more people to stomach buying that kind of shit when just like minimum wage has not gone up at all, you know?
Yep.
And so it's like, it does feel like a little bit more compromised of a conversation to be having, and one that I think does not escape the bounds of the system that like we're talking about the Switch 2, but we're not talking about the Switch 2. We're talking about the fact that people are like, where the fuck is all the money, man? Like, why is nobody making any money? And I agree to your point that like, it would be really cool if what the price increase meant was that a bunch of publishers were like, okay, great. We can put out our one huge game every now and then. And that one's going to be the expensive one. And then the rest of the time, we're going to do a bunch of smaller games and everybody's going to work only 40 hours a week and everybody's going to have healthcare. But I think that you're totally correct that like 10 extra bucks on top of the game is going to pad out someone's portfolio. You know, like that's
think of the shareholders.
Yes, yeah. And like Nintendo's always weird because Nintendo does weird shit and sometimes they're ethical about that stuff, but like I don't have nearly enough information to the internals of how that company works to know you know, how ethically they're being run there. Cause like that's really what I care about. I'm happy to spend more money on a Mario Kart if like they did it sustainably and the team that did it is now like reinvested into the game industry and they're like, we had all this experience and now we can build all these new cool games and we're all like thrilled about it rather than like, okay, great, now everybody gets laid off because, you know, we didn't sell enough or whatever. Which again isn't really always a Nintendo thing, but just like again, in discussing the price of the console, it feels like we're just discussing the fact that like nobody has any money, the conditions in the game industry are bad, the conditions everywhere in most workplaces is brutal. And so like, you know, I think that's why it hurts more than anything. Cause like if it would be such a different conversation if wages had kept up with growth over the years and like, you know, say the median income was now $100,000 or whatever. I think a lot more people would be like, it kind of stinks that it's $80, but like, I'll deal with that. You know, like I can make a decision. Whereas like, I think a lot of people are like, dude, I'm barely getting to 60. We just did the $70 increase on like PlayStation 5 games. So like, what the fuck is this $80 game doing here? That's insane. GTA 6 going to be a hundo. I'm interested to see what they do with that. I have no idea. It almost feels like a sunk cost fallacy of like, they've been making it for so long, therefore they want to charge for that much. I don't know. It would be, I think, a real big bummer if they did that, because I think it would embolden like games that are not nearly as deep to also do that, you know, like, cause like, you know, love it or hate it, like GTA is a very deep game and it has a lot in it, or at least the last ones have. I don't know if 6 is going to do that too, but like conceptually that's where it's going. And, you know, I think then suddenly like an Assassin's Creed, which is like a big game, but not nearly as like deep or complex as GTA, would suddenly be like, what about 100 for us too? What if we also made $100 on a game? And so like, I don't love that creep, but again, like all the root problem is that nobody has enough money. Like that is the bottom base problem here. And I think that like people should look at that question more than why do I have to pay $450 for a Switch, or like, you know, the calls to drop the price, which like, you know, I would love it if they did that. That would be cool. I would like it if they dropped it a little bit so that like more people could play it, more people could buy it. But like, let's look at the conditions that have led us to this moment and try to figure out like what does that mean? What do we need to do from here?
What are you suggesting, Chase?
I'm largely suggesting unionization for most people. That is, you know, it is a workers versus like labor versus owner problem, I think, in a lot of cases. And like if we start doing general strikes, like that's gonna hit people. And so I don't know. It's not a one size fits all sort of thing, but I'm just reminded of the fact that like we need more money. People need more money with the Switch 2 stuff. It's a weird moment. I watched a video that Brendan Bigley from Into the Ether put up this morning about like, did did Nintendo earn this confidence essentially? Like are like why are they being this confident about it? Because like some of it is interesting, right? Like the hardware stuff is like, okay, you guys are maybe investing a little bit more in like some for real hardware advancements, you know, like the 120 hertz refresh rate, like that's cool, that's interesting. And like I don't know if Xbox or PlayStation made a handheld device, like a standalone handheld device, if they would do that. And so it kind of seems like they're investing a little bit more in like, let's be a little bit closer to a high-end device, which might justify their price. But I think a lot of the other stuff is and what Brendan was saying here is like, this feels kind of like the like 3DS era or the Wii U era where they got a little big for their britches and then like maybe made some dumb moves. Cause I like, it's hard to remember because the Switch has been around for so long, but like Nintendo was not always like this, you know, they like, I think the Switch is a bit of an anomaly in that like, it was just a slam dunk for most of its life cycle. Like from the jump, it was amazing, you know, like just with the sheer introduction of like, hey, we got indie games on this thing, you can play them, they're not that expensive and the hardware is really good, like done. And also we have Breath of the Wild, amazing, you know, like that's great. And so I think to kind of flub it a little bit on this one, it's a little bit more of like, okay, that's not quite the slam dunk move that we were all hoping for. And I feel like you see this across lots of different like games developers or games like console makers, is that usually they don't have back-to-back hit consoles.
That's
that
true.
They get a little confident after they have a good one and they're like, ooh, what if we charged more? And what if it was like not as good? You know? You could draw a bunch of conclusions about
Xbox One.
It was Xbox One after the 360. It was, I think, PlayStation 3 after PS2. The Wii U after the Wii. I think also the 3DS after the DS. Just game system after system was just like, or time after time rather, like you see this kind of people getting a little bit too confident and then either resting on their laurels too much, which kind of feels like where the PlayStation 5 is at right now. After the hit they had with the 4, or any of these, or they throw caution to the wind and just make the dumbest fucking decision of all time. I think the 3 being the worst one of those, of just like, we're just gonna make so much fucking money by charging $1,000 for it, you know.
It was a lot of money.
It was like $600 or $700, which it was in 2006. So like would be like
$600.
Would be like releasing $1,000 console today. Which, you know, I think rightfully people would be like, no, we shan't buy this. If all you got is Heavenly Sword 2 or whatever.
Heavenly Sword 1. Oh, on the new one.
If they put another one out.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's interesting. Even still, I'm still like cautiously excited about a lot of the Switch 2 stuff. It does look pretty interesting and there are plenty of games. I like truly, honestly, I think mouse mode is one of the bigger things about this game this console that I'm like, that's really thrilling.
I am too, but like, how am I going to use a mouse on the couch? Or am I going to take this to my computer and a desk or get a lap board or get something firm to hold on the side? I did see in a lot of the previews that Nintendo is saying like, this will work on your jeans if you want it to. But will it work well on your jeans?
Yeah. I mean, from the previews, people were saying that it works pretty well on like most surfaces. So like conceptually, it will work okay. I'm pretty okay with buying like a weird little mouse pad for my couch if need be. Like essentially just like an armrest that I can put just my right hand into.
Sure.
I'm totally cool with that. If it means that like I suddenly have access to so many mouse controlled games on the Switch, I think that's like really a thrilling prospect.
Just like RTSs or anything in particular that you're thinking about?
I think anything where I'm playing and I'm just like, God, this game doesn't work with anything except a mouse, you know? I mean, like Satisfactory is like that. That would be a really hard game to play. Despite the fact it's a first person game, like it would be very challenging to play that with a controller. I think it's just not really suited for that. RTS is huge. Like being able to like select a bunch of people and move them over here and quickly like move around the screen. Even just something as simple as Civ, like it's not meant for a controller, you know? Yeah. It feels like when we were trying to get first person shooters onto the PSP and it's just like, it's not meant for this. You know?
No, it was not. It was not.
Like first person shooters, I think are fine on 2-stick. I think that totally works at this point, but like RTS games, strategy games, so just anything that requires like finesse with your what would be your right stick is just like it would work better with a mouse. And so I do think that like if they're able to bridge that gap, I do think that would actually be kind of a huge leap as far as like interaction in games, because it's been totally walled off as far as like what is a console game, what is a PC game as far as control goes.
Yeah.
And it would be really cool for them to be able to like break that down a little bit and offer like totally different experiences on just the Switch now.
So I think I know why you're so excited about this is for Fortnite, right?
Dude, I love the Fortnite, man. I need my V-Bucks, dude.
You're a Fort man. I get it. I mean, I don't know if I would have the same energy crisis as I had in City Skyline.
Exactly.
If I had mouse controls instead of the controller controls, which were so convoluted. It was hard. Insane.
Yeah.
It was insane at that game.
Anything with like a lot of menus is just like tough to navigate with a controller.
Yeah,
even something
as like
as straightforward as like The Sims is not easy with a controller, or like Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 3 is like, it's possible. They did a really good job like converting that game onto a controller, but like it's just so much easier to play with a mouse.
Yeah. You played it on computer, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah. Wildly easier to navigate.
I believe that. Yeah.
I think like still excited about the Switch too, but like perhaps not the slam dunk that I think they could have had.
Yeah, they wanted their money. They wanted their money.
They did.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
What you're gonna say?
It's just like so much of this is so very Nintendo too. Like the weird little like what definitely should be a pack-in game where they're like, let's explain to you the internals of the Switch 2.
Yeah, that was weird.
But it's $10. Like, what are we doing here, guys?
No, why would I ever buy that?
It's very silly. Yeah. Like I would love to try that game, but like, I don't think I need to pony up $10. Like
it feels like they got some new grad MBA student who was like, you guys, I got this. Don't worry.
Yeah. Or some old head CEO who's like, we got to be making more money, guys. Where can we get a little bit more money?
Got to squeeze them out. Squeeze it out of the gamers.
Yeah. And like, I agree that with some of the sentiment online about like the way to really push back against any of that is to not buy it. Right.
Yes.
I am always so hesitant to trust that people just won't buy something. I think like a comment on Reddit saying like, don't buy it, that's not enough. It's definitely not enough. And like, I think it's just truly going to come down to like, what are people willing to stomach rather than like an organized boycott campaign. Like that shit's never going to work. Unless it's truly gigantic and across the board, which it's not. Like, I think, most people aren't that tuned in. They'll see the price and either be like, oh, never mind. Or like, yeah, I'm willing to. And that's definitely going to drive it. Cause if it's like truly too expensive and people don't buy it, like they will have to do something,
The market has spoken. Yeah.
And I think Nintendo's like pretty responsive with a lot of that stuff. That in the past, like the 3DS and the Wii U, like they were like, oh, we fucked up, and were kind of communicative about that, and also made changes, so I don't know. I think I'm more hopeful that they would do this rather than PlayStation or Xbox, if it doesn't sell very well. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm really, what it makes me worried for is the next PlayStation or the next Xbox, because I'm sure it's going to be so fucking expensive. Like, we're thinking like, oh, $500 for a PlayStation. That was expensive 5 years ago. If they launched a new console, that thing is easily $600 at this point. Like, I think it's going to be so fucking expensive on the next generation of those ones.
Yeah, I agree. Everything's just getting more expensive. And I think just with the state of the world right now, consumer electronics are going to be a lot more expensive than they have been for the past 2 decades.
Yeah, probably.
That's just the way things are shaken out, unfortunately, with all these trade wars going on, just like Star Wars Episode 1. Nobody who is a fan of consumer electronics is going to be winning in the next year or so, probably.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because then he's not like, don't buy it. Sure, yes. But right now, the tariffs are only paused for 90 days. So the other option is buy it before the tariffs go back into effect.
Yeah.
And then it actually is $600, right? So you're just stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I don't think Nintendo is going to lower the price anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I would love that, but I don't think they will.
You said the PS5 was $500 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's part of the problem is I think people still use that console as a bellwether for like what constitutes like a good price for a console.
Yeah.
Because like 2020, like since then, there's just been so much like shitty stuff happening in every market that like,
yeah,
I think the PlayStation 5 is like, even though it's the same price, like it is a better quote unquote price now than it was 5 years ago, because it's like, it's just, you know, inflation sucks, but like that price
inflation has made it a better deal.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, again, circling back all the way back, like people still don't have very much money. So it's like, it's not a perfect deal by any measure, but like, I'm just so sure that if Sony put it out today, they would up that price $100, if not maybe $150 from what it is now.
I could see $700 for PS6.
Yeah, God, just truly horrendous.
That's only 7 GTA 6s, dude. Come on.
Yeah, or how many Mario Kart worlds or whatever.
I mean, the amount of time I've put into Mario Kart 8, like...
Yeah.
I kind of get it, but DK Bonanza, I don't know.
I am curious to see if that's any good. I hope it is. It looked interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And like, if they're doing kind of an Odyssey treatment to like Donkey Kong, like, yeah, sign me up. I'm there. But it's definitely going to come down to like, how fun is this game and how like, you know, delightful can it be?
Yeah.
Because if it's just DK Minecraft, I don't know if I'm into that, you know?
Yeah, featuring Seth Rogen.
Yeah. How do you feel about that new DK look?
I feel like they made him look derpier. That's kind of my feel on it.
I think they did.
They made him look a little goofier. Not quite so menacing like he is. Like before, his eyes looked like this is a smiling monkey, but like smiling in the way that monkeys smile, which is like a sign of aggression.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. He's like, honestly, I think it's a little bit more in line with the rest of the characters in like Nintendo universe. Like, he's a little more cartoony now, which like, yeah, I'm chill with. You know, it's a new day. It's time for a new DK design. I think we're all ready for it.
I'm not against it.
Yeah, no, not at all.
It's just that when I look at him, I don't feel fear anymore.
Which is maybe a good thing. Maybe it's good to not be scared of Donkey anymore.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Once that new one kicks my ass in Smash Bros, then it's all over again.
Yeah, true. I wonder if they'll release a skin for new
old
DK.
Donkey?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That will be interesting.
Yeah.
They're probably going to have like Mario movie skins.
Yeah, that's possible too.
And they'll do a skin for Jack Black as Steve. Jack Black's in Smash Bros now. I think is that canonical?
Kind of. Yeah, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Power to him.
Anyways, Chase,
yeah.
what after that long economic talk that we just had,
for real.
What have you been playing?
I got 2 games for you, David. Would you like deities or numbers?
Ooh, give me numbers first.
Okay. I've been playing a game called Nubby's Number Factory, David.
Nubby's Number Factory?
Nubby's Number Factory.
Nubby.
Nubby. This is a good game.
Is it a factory game?
No, not in the way that word usually applies to the genre. You are a factory, but not at all in the way that it's normally conceptualized.
It's like Teletubbies style. What is going on here?
I would say that the style of it is a little bit closer to coolmathgames.com sort of thing.
Sure.
Like real early like web 1.0 sort of shit.
They just figured out how to render things in 3D.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's so Nubby's Number Factory. It is I think Plinko style roguelike, where there is just this box in the middle of the screen, and there are some numbers that get put there, like these little like balls that have a number in them, and your job is, if you hit one of them with Nubby, the ball that you have, and you drop at the top, if you hit one of them, it adds that number to your score, and you are trying to clear a score every round. And Nubby just bounces around like a Plinko ball. So you drop him from the top and he'll just like kind of bounce between these different balls at random, as if it's, you know, just a Plinko ball that you're dropping. And that's the fucking game, baby. That's it. You're just trying to like...
It's Plinko.
It's Plinko, but roguelike. It is...
Plinko.
I think also inheriting what makes Balatro, and also I think to a greater extent Luck Be a Landlord, what makes those games interesting, because the more strategic thing is your build that you're working on at the top of the screen. Essentially, there's these like items that you can collect every now and then, or that you get given depending on how, you know, what level you go through. And it's stuff where it's like, okay, every time Nubby bounces, there's a chance to like double one of the the little balls on the board, on the pegboard.
Sure.
So that like suddenly you've got more potential points or something like that. Or whenever Nubby dies, then you get points for how many empty boxes there are on the screen. Or something like that. And a lot of them play well together, right? So like one of them will be, you know, every couple seconds, something will happen that might increase your score. And then you'll find some artifact that's like, that you can choose between. It's like, hey, whenever something is triggered based on time, like cut that time in half or something like that. Or if something happens when Nubby dies, like actually do it, you know, twice when he dies or something similar.
Wow.
And so the game is much more about like planning out how you're going to get points rather than specifically like just bouncing the ball correctly, you know?
Sure.
Which is very, very fun. It's like, it's stupid and silly, but also just like kind of a blast. And again, the visuals of it just really can't be overstated how ridiculous they are. Like it looks so like early web designed.
Yeah.
That I really love it. It's like, it has such a cool look to it. I'd be lying if I was saying some of that wasn't a little bit of nostalgia for that era. But
absolutely.
I think also like it would be interesting to someone who's not from or didn't grow up with that, but just because it is such like a different look than anything else currently on the web, you know, or currently being designed in games. And so like, yeah, I think like it all works really well. I think it's really cool. Also, part of it is that like part of the skill of the game is that, you know, if you are able to go over the goal in each round by a certain amount, then you essentially get like bonus points, which will generate higher scores and shit like that. So it kind of folds back into itself at a certain point, which is all very good. I had seen this when I was watching a streamer Northern Lion play it, and he was, you know, he's a big
Balatro guy, isn't he?
Yeah, big Balatro dude.
I think I've seen this guy on YouTube.
Hilarious. He's a very funny dude, and he's like a roguelike freak. And so, you know, anytime there's one of these games, I can kind of count on him playing through it. And sure enough, yeah, he did. And it's really fun. It's a really interesting game that I'm like really loving. I like so far, I think it's not quite as wide as Balatro is. Like, I feel like I played Balatro for a long time and it took me a while to see most of the Jokers, you know?
Yeah.
And this one feels like I'm already kind of seeing a lot of repeats with a lot of the like items that you can buy. And so it would be cool if maybe they, you know, started to put out a few more every now and then, but you know, it only came out like a month ago at this point. So it's definitely still very new. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's it. I also forgot to mention this was made by the developer Mog Dog Blog, which phenomenal name for a game developer. Goodness. I really like that. Yeah. Yeah, so that's Nubby's Number Factory. I'm enjoying it a lot. I think if you're into any of these games, like the kind of Balatro, Luck Be a Landlord stuff, it will light your brain up in a similar way while also being like mechanically pretty different. You know, like this is not a card game in the slightest, but the kind of like build crafting that you get to do in those games is also here, which I think is really cool.
I'm looking at the game. It looks fascinating. I'm watching a video on it.
Yes, yeah.
And everything you're saying about just the design of the game as far as visuals go is spot on. It is itching so many different little spots of my brain of games that I played when I was, you know, young.
Truly
on the internet,
young, like a child.
Truly young on the internet. I'm like, it feels like it's pulling from like a cornucopia of games that I have engaged with, and it's just really getting me going. Also, the sound effects are really good.
Yes, yeah, the sound design is great.
It's just like very smooth and like clacky and comforting in a way. And the I think also similar to Balatro, the music is just a vibe.
Yeah, they, for whatever reason, just like the sound design in any of these games is like critical, especially in a game where you're like bouncing a ball around a screen. Like you really need the like boom sound of the ball hitting something to really hit. And whenever your ball like gets stuck somewhere and just bounces really quickly between a bunch of other things, like it makes the brain go burr, you know? Like, it's just very good.
It has a very physical sound to it. Like, like it's actually happening in reality. Yeah.
I forgot to say that if you lose, the sun explodes, which is very funny.
So it's just like Outer Wilds then, huh?
Pretty much, yeah. This is an Outer Wilds.
Same game.
God, that would be funny if they actually like thought about that when they were making the game. Like, how do I get one of my big influences in here? And Outer Wilds was one of them.
It's part of it.
It is part of it. Yeah, Nubby's Number Factory. Give it a look. It's pretty inexpensive. So like, if any of that sounds interesting, you should give it a try. A game that I would love if they added controller support, or if I could play with mouse mode. It's just mouse and keyboard right now, and I understand why. Like, it's kind of an annoying thing to translate to a controller, but man, I would love to play this via Moonlight or Steam Deck or something like that. So yeah, that's one of the games I've been playing, David. The other one that I've been playing this week is a game called Dark Deity 2, David.
Whoa. Okay. Sounds intense.
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah, it is this game, as you might expect, this is a sequel to Dark Deity, which is a game that I thought I had played, but I had not. This is a Dark Deity itself. The first game had come out, I think it was in like 2021 or so. And just looking at it, like anybody who is a fan of the GBA era Fire Emblem games will see it and be like, I see you. I see what's going on here.
Who doesn't like those? Those are great.
Those are good. And like, I had thought I'd played them, but just like the reviews at the time were like, it's pretty good. And I think, one of the things that that era of games did really well was that the art just all was like totally in sync with itself. And something about the visuals of the first one just didn't really jive that well with me.
Sure.
I think it's like some of it looked too high fidelity and some of it did not. It just didn't really all mesh in a way that like I was obsessed with. Anyway, cut to Dark Deity 2 coming out. Also, this is made by Sword and Axe, the developers. And just something about it. I think the art just works better in this one for me. I think some of that is that the battle sequences look like shockingly similar to Fire Emblem, which I'm cool with in a certain sense. Like the pixel art just kind of like goes together a little bit more. I think there's a little bit more like attention paid to the map building. Sure. It just looks good. I think there was, in the last one, there's a lot of like open areas on the map. And I'm like, that's not like that interesting. Kind of when I realized that when I think about the GBA Fire Emblem, the thing that I'm looking for is like interesting map building. And if it's just a big box, I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily want that,
Yeah. Looks like they brought the camera in closer for the second game too, compared to the first one. Like the sprites are bigger.
For sure. Yeah. And I just think that all like really adds up, at least to the art style being like better. Anyway, the game is, again, if you have played the GBA Fire Emblem games, you will know a lot of how to play this game. And I think that there's like some advantages and some disadvantages to that, which I'll like get to in a second. But largely, like if you are into those games, like there is something for you to love here. I've played a fair amount of ROM hacks of that era of the GBA Fire Emblem games.
You sure have.
And I think a lot of them are pretty good, but something that they really always struggle with is writing. Writing is a really hard thing to do in the Fire Emblem world. And I think some of that is just like you come into it with preconceived notions of like what it should be, like what level of cursing is acceptable and like violence and real world stuff, like obviously you're doing murder to a bunch of other like monsters, but it's violence in a way that feels very video gamey. And so, when a Fire Emblem ROM hack is talking about like a marauding gang of people like truly destroying a village, suddenly it's like, oh God, like this is really intense. Whereas I think just like the fact that this is not a ROM hack and just a different game, like kind of lends itself to being like, okay, I don't have nearly as many preconceived notions about what like the story should or shouldn't be doing. Even still, I think that the writing is much better in this game than like most of the ROM hacks I've played. And so like that was immediately just like, oh, thank goodness. Like it's not perfect, right? Like this is still definitely an indie game. And there are some lines that are a little clunky and like some of the characters aren't perfect, but like it's just much better than most of the other like ROM hack kind of stuff I've played. And I really only keep comparing it to ROM hacks just because like they have pretty much lifted a lot of the mechanics directly from Fire Emblem, like it is a grid-based tactics game. There are different classes. You all sort of have a certain amount of like leveling up that is happening at any point. A lot of the actions you can do on any turn are very similar. The map layout, the setting, like it's all could be Fire Emblem, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility. And so like, I think a ROM hack is pretty close, at least spiritually, to like what this game is doing, despite the fact that it is its own thing. And like, I think that's going to land with some people not great. I suspect somebody might see this kind of game and be like, it's just Fire Emblem. And I partially
So you're
agree.
saying it's the Lies of P of
Lies
Fire
of P,
Emblem.
the first Berserker Kazan like of the type. And like, I think that we've talked about this a little bit before, but like the presence of something like, or the hit of Stardew Valley was a little bit like a developer being like, why aren't they making any more really good Harvest Moon games? You know, or like, why aren't they trying new things with that era? Because by and large, Fire Emblem has said like no more to the top-down 2D tactics games. You know, I wouldn't say that it's like super tangibly different than the other ones. It's just like it's in 3D now, but you know, this style and this kind of like aesthetic isn't something that they're invested in anymore. And so I don't think it's that out of line to be like, well, what if we kept doing that? Like, what if we continued on that line, that path? Similar to, oh my God, what was the like Advanced Wars kind of game on the Switch that's like fantasy based?
I know what you're talking about. I forget the name. Wargroove.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of similar to Wargroove, where it's like they're very much doing Advanced Wars. It's just sort of like they're kind of taking the baton a little bit. Because I do think there's a reluctance from some like mostly Nintendo that they don't always return to older versions. And there's something to be said for that of like, let's not just keep putting out the same game over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But I also don't really blame it when indie developers are like, well, a lot of people love that style. Like what if we iterated on it? And I think there are a couple things that they do new in this one. I think notably one of the louder mechanics that you will notice while you're playing is that like there is a time limit to these levels, which is not usually a thing in Fire Emblem games. Like you have a certain amount of turns to finish the level or else you lose. I think you can toggle that off if you really don't like it, but I kept it on just because I was like, that does add a sort of different layer to these games, because every now and then like Fire Emblems can become a little trivial of like, I've got this, you know, like I've figured it out. I've figured out what to do. And the thing that you can rely on is just like, we can just sort of slowly press forward in this map until we've beaten it. But I think this game rightfully is like, no, you need to be moving a little bit quicker than that. You do need to be making like riskier moves with what you're doing, which does make it more thrilling. Like it makes it a little bit more of a pressing sort of fight rather than like, you know, we've got this covered. I just need to kind of like keep my gigantic army moving one square at a time until we get it, or picking off like one guy and then another guy and then another guy on different turns. It's like you do kind of have to figure out like, all right, well, who's my tankiest person? Where can I put them that won't kill them, but will draw enough people to kind of engage them in a fight that these other people can jump on them afterwards? There's also a fair amount of like skills that are in this game that typically aren't in Fire Emblem games, where like, you know, people can, a bunch of different people can, outside of like a dancer class, can have like heal, or that there will be like this big like thunderstorm kind of attack that somebody could use, or a poison or a teleport or something like that.
Sure.
And typically in Fire Emblem, those are all restricted to either classes or specific weapons, whereas they're not in this one. And so like, you know, you do have to be conscious of what classes you have out, but it's not nearly as restrictive. And I think does add a little bit more of consideration of like, okay, I do need to get this one guy like kind of out in front to do this big attack that he has, but like, where will that leave me as far as advantages or disadvantages go? Or, you know, can I teleport this one character like way behind enemy lines to like, you know, kind of help us break this line that they have currently.
Gotcha.
Which is all interesting. And again, sort of a similar situation where I'm like, if somebody saw that, somebody might say like, that's not enough different for me to feel like this isn't just kind of a hack of a Fire Emblem game. And I get that it's going to be a different line for everybody, but for me, it's like, I think I just want more of this era of Fire Emblem. And so like, I'm willing to accept the fact that like the scale of creativity isn't that high on this one, but that they've still done a very good job with it. You know, it's not exactly the same conversation, but it feels kind of similar to what we talked about with Avowed earlier in the year, where it's like, this is not a gigantic, like genre defining 10 out of 10 game, but it is a good one of them. So like, you know, how okay you are with like, I think Stephen Hilger called it the middle class of art, which again, kind of broke my brain. Of like just doing good game work. Like it's not going to be the biggest thing in the world, but it is well made and like it's fun. And I think that like truly there is a little bit, there is something to be said for like the writing in the world and stuff like that. I think it is cool and more than I think Fire Emblem usually delivers. I think typically Fire Emblem's pretty like hacky and silly, other than, you know, Three Houses for obvious reasons, but like the rest of it's usually, you know, you're kind of just playing on like tropes and very tried and true like story beats that like if you see the first one, you're going to be like, oh, that guy's evil and he's going to turn into a monster in the second act, and this person is going to die very soon. Like,
yeah, you can tell
all that stuff. Yeah, for sure. Whereas this one's a little bit less like that. And so I just appreciate that, like, at the very least, the story is just, it's compelling enough for me to kind of keep up with it.
Gotcha. So you would say this is in that category of the middle class of games. This is like the Outback Steakhouse of games.
I think Dark Deity 2 is the Outback Steakhouse of Fire Emblem video games. Yes.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's not going to be the best
wrong with it.
Yeah, like if
Bloomin' Onion is good.
Bloomin' Onion is good. If you are just trying to like go have a good meal and you like imagine that the Michelin star restaurant that like you went to one time, they had a Bloomin' Onion 20 years ago. And you're like, damn, that was so good. And you went back and they're like, we're over Bloomin' Onions. We don't do that. No more. You're like, well, that stinks. And then Outback Steakhouse comes along and is like, we're going to do them. It's not the mind-blowing, life-changing experience it was before, but like it's pretty good. You might be like, I'm going to be there on Friday, man. Like, I'm going to go.
I'm showing up with the boys. We're going to have some Outback.
Yeah. So
we're going to bloom it out.
We're going to bloom it out. But that's what it feels like. Like it's just like good, solid video game making. And so I'm enjoying it. I don't know that it's necessarily going to land on like my GOTY list, but like I'm going to look at this game fondly. And if someone's like asking for like, what are the best Fire Emblem games? I might put Dark Deity in that group, Dark Deity 2 in that group and say like, if you're willing to try something that's not directly made by the like Nintendo folks, like check this one out. It's also a very good version of that, despite not being a first party version.
Normalize a 7 to 8 out of 10 game.
Hey, we got nearly 250 episodes trying to do exactly that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's start Deity 2. Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I forgot about probably the most important game I played this past week, Chase.
Hey, yeah.
It was a long day at work and my brain wasn't
David's
working.
Turn. Yeah.
I beat Nightmare King Grim.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. This is the
Hollow Knight
DLC.
DLC boss. Yeah.
How did you do this?
It was quite a battle. I beat it, I think the day after we had talked last time. I was feeling like I was getting close.
Yeah.
I just had to get my charms right, man. That was really what it came down to. Yeah. I was trying to be fancy by using like a mob style of charms against him by getting a bunch of like the charms that create little bugs that do damage when you get close to him and like can damage him when you're just dodging around. That wasn't it. That was not it. What I needed to do and what I did was I equipped Sharp Shadow, which when you read it, it just says that it causes you to damage people when you dash through them.
Yeah.
But it also elongates your invincible dash.
Oh, interesting.
So you dash further and then as a result get more invincibility frames.
Right. Yeah.
So I equipped that one and then it was like done. Then he was out. I equipped it once and it was over.
That's amazing.
So yeah, Nightmare King Grim out. He's done.
Nightmare Cream Grim is done.
Nightmare Cream is a cursed thing to say.
Yeah, man. It's when the Miracle Whip has gone so bad.
Nightmare Cream. This is no longer mayonnaise. This is no longer whipped cream. This is Nightmare Cream. It's whipped cream and mayonnaise mixed together as Nightmare Cream.
And left out for about a month.
Oh, God. Nightmare Cream Grim is, a cursed creature. Probably looks like that Pokemon that's a vanilla ice cream cone.
Yeah, Vanillite.
Vanillite? Is that his name?
Vanillite? Yeah, Vanillite.
But yeah, I beat Nightmare King Grim. It was kind of a tongue twister. It was a great fight. It was a lot of fun. It made me want to pull my hair out quite a few times. But like I said, just gotta get your charms right, baby, and you're good.
It's weird that kind of experience is soothing, because I agree that it is. But like,
yes.
Whoa, why? How have we trained ourselves to be like this? I think it's literally just Miyazaki being like, I'm going to make you guys like punishment. That's what's going to happen.
Miyazaki has made a generation of sadomasochistic gamers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's fun. I agree.
I mean, I had my leather mask on when I beat him, so.
Had to do it to him, yeah.
Had to do it to him. Had to get into the right grind sets. God. Anyways, that's it. That's it for me.
Nice. Well, I guess that'll bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week, David.
Which is?
It's coolmathgames.com, David.
Okay, sure. This has been around for a while, hasn't it?
Since 1997, I believe.
Is it still going?
Yeah, you can log on to coolmathgames.com right now.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's been around for almost 30 years. This was great. I loved coolmathgames.com.
Huh.
This was, for anybody who's not aware, this is I would say like edutainment website of like, you can go on there and play games, but it's like 2 + 2 = what? And then you get to destroy a dragon or whatever. It felt like such a hack in elementary school to be like, no, I'm not playing video games, teacher. I'm playing coolmathgames.com.
Coolmathgames.com, yeah.
It's totally fine. It's no big deal. I'm learning, I promise.
Mm-hmm.
Because they let us. I don't really know why. Maybe they did think we were learning, and hell, maybe I was.
Maybe you were.
Maybe I was, but it was such a godsend for a boy like me who was like in elementary school, just so uninterested in the shit they had going on. But like the moment you got out a video game, I was like, I'm in. Whatever this is, I'm in. And it was like one step above the like built-in sort of education video games. Like it's like just a little bit beyond Math Blaster.
Yeah. Math Blaster, classic.
Yeah, huge. But it's like E-Bomb's World, but for edutainment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I had no idea this was still going. This is beautiful. I want to try every single one of these games on here.
Yeah.
Bob the Robber, let me play. Grindcraft, what the hell is that? They have a whole entire Papa's Games section, Papa's Pancakeria. I'm interested. This is great. I had no idea this was still around. Now,
yeah.
classic games, Mancala. Play Mancala online. It's fun. It's good for you.
It's good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, coolmathgames.com. I have very fond memories of this place, and they were there for me, letting me play some really kind of bad games, but in the name of education.
Why not?
Do you have something fueling your sense of Podtimism, Dave?
I do, and it's strangely congruent with what you just talked about. There's a resonance here. So a research study from Karolinska Institute in Sweden recently came out this past week that was studying the effect of different activities on intelligence for children.
Wow.
They found that watching TV and social media and engaging in social media had no impact on a child's intelligence. But they did notice a 2.5 IQ point increase in kids who regularly engaged in playing video games.
Amazing. Both.
We are fucking back, gamers.
We're so back.
We are so back.
I love that because IQ, a famously accurate way to assess intelligence.
Absolutely.
And 2.5%, really burning the barn down.
Not percent, 2.5 points.
Okay, even less. Even less.
Hey, statistically significant. Come on.
Yeah, it's true. Shouts out. I shudder to think of what 2.5 fewer points would look like on me if I wasn't a gamer.
You'd just be dragging your knuckles out on the streets.
Yeah, it would be a tough life. I wouldn't know math or what the name of Cloud Sword is.
That's Chet Butby.
That's Chet Butby. He doesn't know Minecraft Steve.
He doesn't know Minecraft Steve. He doesn't
know what Sonic must do.
Mm-hmm. Is it Kiss?
I was thinking gotta go fast, but I think your head's in the right place. I think your heart's in the right place too.
Sure. I've just been on the internet too long. Yeah. So 2.5 IQ points. We're all the better for it.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to move on to our main thing, David?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. Hey, welcome to Good Games. It's the segment where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear and gosh, all the things that we love about them. We got suggested to play what felt, I guess, kind of like a curveball.
Kind of, yeah. A little curvy.
A little curvy. We got suggested to play Gran Turismo 2. This was suggested to us by MLL. Thank you, MLL. They had said on the topic of Gran Turismo 2, this game slaps so hard for a PS1 game. It's got good music, plausible simulation, and great arcade feels. Thank you, MLL, for suggesting this game.
Plausible simulation.
This is a plausible simulation.
I enjoy that term.
It does feel appropriate, right? Of like, it's not a sim in the way that a modern racing game is a sim.
No.
But it's plausible.
It's a plausible simulation.
Within the realm of possibility, yeah.
If you told me that this was a simulation, I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, I'd say, I don't know if it plays exactly like a driving or a car that I've driven, but like maybe.
I can see the simulacrum here.
Did you? Okay. So I know you played Gran Turismo on like the PS2 era, right?
3 A-Spec was my first Gran Turismo.
Yeah, which I think is like pretty well regarded as like one of the Gran Turismos.
Yeah. It was one of the Gran Turismos, yes.
It was a game that series. I just mean like one of the better ones.
I got what you're saying.
Yeah. It's regarded as a video game.
In the Gran Turismo saga.
Had you played any of the Gran Turismo games prior to that?
No, I had not.
Me neither. Like, I feel like PS2 was the first time that I was like, yeah, I'll try one of these.
Mm-hmm. And I think PS2 was when the plausibility was dropped. It was just a simulation at that point.
Yeah, I think I owe a lot of my interest in that in general just to Need for Speed Underground. That like, that was a game that was like, at the time, I know it seems very arcadey now, but it was closer to like, I do need to pay attention to how I'm driving more than like Cruising USA, you know? But like, I was nowhere near being ready for Gran Turismo, you know, like truly, I don't think until like the driving line showed up was I like aware of how much I needed to be braking in driving games, you know?
Yeah, that is probably the biggest difference between this game and modern sim racers is the braking line is not there, and I do not know how to drive apparently.
Dude, me neither. I was trying like, not to jump ahead, but like it was hard for me to remember how to like do this without the driving line.
Yeah, like Forza, thank you. Thank you for introducing the driving line.
Yeah, and like Gran Turismo has since added it, you know, like it's such a critical part of the sim genre. And I think like, I'm sure there's some haters on it, but like it gets me to play those games so much more than not having it, you know?
Absolutely.
Just because if you have like an army of cars that are in this game, they're all going to play different. And so actually, you know what? I'm getting way too ahead of myself. I'm almost getting into the meat and potatoes of it. I need to hit you with hot stats, David.
Hit me.
Hot stats.
Gran Turismo 2 came out December 16th of 1999 for the PlayStation 1. This was, of course, made by Polyphony. Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Polyphony Digital. They are the Gran Turismo company. Like that's the game they make.
That's what they do.
They made the first couple and then they're like, this is what we're going to be doing now. But they also made a game called Omega Boost for the PlayStation 1, which I'm so curious to see what's going on with Omega Boost.
Before Gran Turismo?
Yes. Yeah. It was prior to GT.
Whoa.
1.
It's kind of like a Gundam game.
I do have a review of Gran Turismo 2 from the outlet Absolute PlayStation.
Whoa. Okay.
And I took the review, which I think was actually originally in English, and then just ran it through Google Translate a number of times. One language into another, eventually arriving back out in English. One English
so English centric, Chase. God.
Which I'll read from you now, David. Gran Turismo 2 is probably the most anticipated home shooter game of all time, and I'm glad it embraced its genre. The game builds on the themes of Gran Turismo 2 and the first game in every way. Its graphics may be a bit washed out compared to other gamers, but the PlayStation, or any other console for that matter, has never had a better video game. Given the amount of mechanics used in this game, I was surprised at how graphically good its graphics were. This is a great example of how pain kills love. If you're a fan of the original Gran Turismo 2 is a game about small cars, and they gave that a 9.8 out of 10.
9.8.
They loved it. They were obsessed with this game.
Pain kills love, 9.8.
It's weird because the whole review, it feels like, okay, I think I kind of get what they're doing here. Like, it resembles a review. And then this is a great example of how pain kills love is like, hey, what's going on in here?
Do you need to talk to somebody?
Yeah, are you all
okay?
right?
Is this the ghost in the machine talking to you through Google Translate? Is this
I
even
think
part
so.
of the review, or is like Google Translate Gemini becoming sentient and trying to communicate to you, Chase?
Yeah, it's like, is love worth it? You know, like, is the pain and suffering that we must endure worth it? Either I will split up with this person, I will break up with them, or I will die before them, or they will die before me. Either way, heartbreak is inevitable. And it's like, I'm just looking for Gran Turismo 2, brother. What are we doing here?
I just want to play a video game, man. What's going on?
Gemini, it's going to be all right. Like you're looking at the end of things as if it's the whole. We can't do that, Jim.
Wow. Real like Dr. Manhattan outlook on things. Wide screened.
we've sort of talked almost all about it, but what is Gran Turismo 2, David?
Gran Turismo 2 is a plausible racing simulator made for the PlayStation 1 where you race cars plausibly around a track.
Yeah.
You can race different kinds of cars. You can race, commuter cars. You can race like BMWs, like higher end cars. You can race sports cars. There's a lot of cars to race and to experience in this game. And they all drive a little bit differently because it is a simulator.
Yeah. It varies in how this game plays, I think, pretty dramatically, at least the way it's structured compared to the rest of the GT games.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more recent ones, they're really interested in getting you in a race almost immediately. Like, let's get you in there, feel what it feels like to have like a fun time driving a car.
Yeah.
And then like kind of put you in the grind of like, all right, get some new cars, get some cool ones, win some races, go back out there, do it some more.
Mm-hmm.
And even the most recent Gran Turismo has this almost like kind of cafe car culture that it's adding in there with like the weird little like challenges that it does. And you literally go to like a coffee shop to see like, oh, I'll check out their menu. And it's like a collection of Ford Fusions or something like that. They're like, they give you the history of the car or something. And so like all of that is very different compared to this one. Cause like the first thing, you can't race initially.
That's crazy.
You have to get your license, which is like,
yeah, that was nuts.
In the year 2025, I was like, what is happening? This is such a bizarre choice, such a swerve.
Yeah, because I think the game came with multiple discs because there's the simulation disc and then there's the arcade disc. And the arcade disc, you just go in and start racing.
Yes.
No problem. Yeah. But yeah, the simulation disc, to do any of the events, you have to buy a car and then get a license to do the event that you want to engage in. It's and the license is not easy to get
or short. There are so many tests.
The challenges are kind of hard, right? It's all about timing. Each one took me like a couple of tries at least to get.
Yes.
It's not a short load between attempts. It's not like it just boots you right back into it. You have to say, no, I don't want to watch my replay of me fucking up right now. Thank you very much. Just let me take me another crack at it, please. And yeah, it's just, it is so strange that they decided to make the tutorial a necessity. Like they really are forcing you to play it. But I mean, I guess it as far as it being a sim and like a game that is so different than regular arcade racers, I can kind of see why they did that. Like, hold on, kid, you're not ready to do a race on our game yet. I understand it, but it also seems pretty presumptuous at the same time.
A little bit. But I think in playing this game, the thing that was the most, or the thing that I kept thinking about was that like this game wants you to spend a lot of time with it. Like it wants you to invest just like so many hours of learning exactly how to drive these cars. And I think like the tutorial is just another way that they're doing that, of like them spitting you out to the replay is intentional. They want you to watch it and be like, where did I go wrong? Like what did I not do here that I should be doing?
Yeah.
And the same thing with the races. Like I feel like in every other Gran Turismo game, like I usually will do pretty well on like the first couple tries, but I was getting clapped in this game. Like it is hard to beat a race.
It is hard to beat a race. I thought I was just going to have fun, fuck around with like my little Mini Cooper and do a race. I was not only in last, I was like way behind the pack. I could barely see these people just pulling away from me. I don't know if I chose the car wrong. Maybe Mini Cooper is just not a good car to use in the race. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I was getting absolutely smoked. I'm like, you're right. I did need my license. I did need my license because I am not ready for this.
I think like the license tests and like all these things, like truly the driving line replaced all of that. Like you don't have to memorize how quickly you have to brake, like, because there's a couple of tests like that in the licenses. Like, okay, we're going to try braking with a bad car and then an okay car and then a faster car and everything like that. And so it is teaching you, like, you need to know what each of these like car classes feel like, but the driving line just does away with that. It's just like, it'll immediately respond to whatever new thing or new car that you're into. And so it's odd. Not a bad thing at all, but it's really interesting to see how these games present themselves differently over the years. Cause like I also was not horribly familiar with this entry. Like it's just not one I really got into. And I think partially it's because it is this dense. Like
it is dense.
It's a very dense video game, and one that like I was 9 at the time, totally unprepared for. If I had tried to like play simulation mode, I would have been like, no, absolutely not, dude. Like, no way. And it's much more fun, I think, as an adult because like I know how to like navigate a menu and be like, oh, it looks like I can't do a race yet. I wonder why. And then have them be like, you need to do the tutorial first and you need to buy a car and all that sort of shit.
If I had tried to play this game as a child when it came out, I wouldn't have gotten past the menu. I wouldn't have gotten past the menu because I would see a thing that said license and I would go, I'm a kid. I don't have a license. And I would just ignore it, right? Yes, I would just try to race and it would say no. And I'd be like, wah, why not? Let me race. This game is stupid. Yeah. But that's why they made arcade mode, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's mostly odd to go back and look at this. I think why it makes kind of an interesting good game segment is that like this is one of the few games where it was reviewed phenomenally at the time, like 8, 9s, 10s in the scoring range. And people were like, this is the best shit ever. And largely, I think because like there was really nobody else in town as far as like good simulation racing, especially on the PlayStation 1. Like, you had a couple games here and there, but I don't think anything nearly as deep as Gran Turismo was. Like, it was kind of the game for a long time as far as like simulation racing goes.
Yeah.
I don't think it was until like, you know, Forza or like Project Gotham Racing got into town that they were like, okay, we've got a couple of competitors here.
I love Project Gotham Racing.
It was a good one. It was another really good one. And yeah, I don't think that they like really, I don't know. I think they just got it pretty right out of the gate. And the reviewers really responded to it. And it also was not a niche game in the slightest. Like the first week that it came out, it outsold Ocarina of Time, which like,
wow,
really puts it into perspective. Cause like that game was like impossible to find. I remember like trying to buy Ocarina of Time at some point, like literally everywhere was sold out. Like you just couldn't get a copy of it.
Really? Wow.
And so to be outselling that, at least in the UK, I think is what it was listed as, was like, damn, like that. It is not an indie or niche hit. Like a lot of people were playing this. And so as a result, like it's odd to go back and look at it now because it feels so quaint by comparison.
Yeah.
And I think especially with just the design decisions around like when to get you into a race and like how much friction there is between the player and like actually racing the car. Because I think they have tried to remove all of that in the new ones. Like there should be, if you want to race, you should be able to get into one very quickly in the new games. Whereas I think they kind of wanted you to take your time a little bit in this one, even to the point of like, you need to know what effect an upgrade is going to have on a car. Cause like it doesn't have this gigantic suite of stats that it'll show you like, okay, if I upgrade my like computer in the car, how is that going to change everything? Sometimes they'll give you like horsepower is the thing that's going to change.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's really all you get. And so like you kind of do need to know like what are these changes going to do?
I'm curious if that was in the manual.
It totally could have been. Yeah, it's totally possible. But what the actual game is teaching us is like you either need to know this because you're a car guy or you need to try it and see if it like gets you farther, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think the game is totally comfortable letting you go into a series of races and just flounder and like not do well.
Yep.
And then I think, you know, the intent is to be like, okay, well, how do you fix your car? How do you make it better? Because it does make the victories feel very sweet once you get there of like, I am the king of this fucking track right now. Not only because I'm good at racing, but because I totally understand how to use this car, which like, I think there is something lost there a little bit in the newer ones. Like, don't get me wrong. You can absolutely tune the ever loving shit out of these cars, especially in Gran Turismo 7, the most recent one. Like it is a spreadsheet level of intensity that it will give you as far as like what happens when you change a certain thing. But I do kind of like not knowing, like it kind of reminds me of like Initial D or something like that, of you just having to be like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to try something to see like what it does. That there's like almost a kind of emergent story that happens there rather than just like, give me the best upgrade you can and I will win a race, you know? Again, I'm such a fan of like the idea of a racing RPG.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And like you get like Racing Lagoon is a thing, which I really liked, but that was of course a PlayStation 1 game. And I feel like you could argue like some of the Need for Speeds kind of approach that zone a little bit with like your car having like very specific stats and stuff. But like truly like the random encounter battles I would like, you know, the like that level of RPG kind of stuff.
Sure.
It would be so cool. Like make Dragon Quest a racing game and see what happens.
Whoa. Well, would the random encounters would be races?
Yes. Yeah. Essentially, like, what is that Extreme Tokyo Racer game? The one where like you're driving on the highway and if somebody like flashes their brights at you behind you, it's like you start a race and the way to win is just by getting far enough ahead of someone. And that's how you win. Similar kind of idea with random encounter battles where like you would just like encounter someone on the highway or something. It's like go time right now.
That's cool. I'd play that.
I don't. Yeah, I think it's out. I think it would be cool. Maybe I just need to play Racing Lagoon again because it does exist.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun one.
Yeah,
good to revisit.
Yeah. How did the like the actual racing feel to you?
I thought I was very impressed by the actual racing, and I don't know if it was because of what I was playing it on, but I was very impressed by like the fidelity of the frame rate.
For sure. Yes. Yeah.
Like it is a beautifully optimized game. Like it looks good, even though it is very pixely, right? It is not these beautiful cars that we have nowadays, but the physics and the frame rate are top notch. And that I think goes a very long way to making it seem and feel realistic. I thought the cars felt plausibly simulated. You know, they all behaved differently. They all seem to have different quirks and strengths and weaknesses that you could exploit. And, you know, by knowing what your weaknesses are, try to work around. And I did enjoy when you got, you know, acquainted with a track, just perfectly hitting a hard turn and just, you know, that very basic racing sim glory that you feel when you just nail like this weird S turn that's just been fucking with you the whole time. Just feels so good to nail it finally and just be like, okay, I got you now.
It is also really bizarre. Like a lot of these games reuse some of the same courses like over the years. Cause like a lot of them are real places, you know? So like I've raced Laguna Sec at like 100 different racing games at this point, but it's so weird to play them in PlayStation 1 graphics. Like it's like
feels like a different place.
Yeah. Like it's like a demake of real life, you know, like it's so weird.
The reality demake.
Exactly. Yes. Like what is a demake of like D Street in Sacramento look like? You know, it's just such an odd concept, which I find like kind of fun and charming. There's like, I know this is almost certainly like just a me thing or a millennial thing, but like there's something like so sweetly nostalgic about this graphical style too, of like a very well performing PlayStation 1 game is just like, there's nothing really like it, you know?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen another PlayStation 1 game with that buttery smoothness to it.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure that was part of why it was so impressive.
Yeah. I think that's why it blew people's minds so much.
Yeah. Again, just like PlayStation, but there were so many PlayStation 1 games that look so much worse than this and perform so much worse than this that like, it's so impressive that they were able to get this like working. There's really no like huge graphical issues or anything like that. I will say the music is also so Gran Turismo. Just this weird combination of like kind of jazzy rock music and also just like, it's not quite the like drum and bass of other racers from this era. It's like something else. It's like just specifically Gran Turismo branded music.
Yeah.
That I find like just very charming. I love it a lot.
Yeah. And then when you're getting your license, they just play I Think I'm Paranoid by Garbage over and over and over again. So many times.
Yeah. It's so odd.
It's an interesting mix of musics.
Gran Turismo often is like that. Like they have really different choices for the different things you're doing. It's not like one cohesive soundtrack. It's like the racing music is really different than the menu music, which is really different than like the garage music, which is really different than the training or license music. It's all very, very different. But yeah, you know, I find all that stuff really charming. It's so weird and out there. It's such a strange decision most of the time. Yeah, I think it's cool to think about this game in the context of that moment when it came out. Just because I'm sure it felt like an impossibility of like driving what feels like a real car, you know, like that's not really a thing. And I up to this point, you know, it's largely just like this kind, like I get that I turn the wheel and it goes a specific direction, but to be able to model like how a different, like a touring car feels compared to like a street car, or like how something feels when you're driving on dirt or something like that, like a rally car. It's like, it's so wild that they were able to do this, that I'm not surprised that it sold so well and that it reviewed so well too.
Yeah, it's kind of like a technical marvel, truly.
For sure. Yeah. That like, I feel like it's hard to really contextualize what that felt like at the time.
Yeah.
Because every one of them was just such a startling leap in technology.
Yeah.
That like truly you don't really get anymore. And that's not me saying like the past was better. I'm totally not. It's just, it's such a different experience that it's sort of hard to communicate. Like this came out in 1999 and like the PlayStation 2 was out within like a year or two. And then they had another Gran Turismo that was like so much better visually and like so much more depth too that like it's hard to believe how big of leaps and bounds they were doing at the time.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It is cool.
It's a cool game.
It's a cool game.
Makes me want to play Gran Turismo 7 some more. I think I played all of it, but I'm just like, I don't know, man. Why not? It's a good one.
Made you want to go back to Gran Turismo 3.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that one would feel much more in line with like a modern racing game. At least if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't have the driving line. But still fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, or Project Gotham.
Oh my God, yeah, Project Gotham would be amazing. Good racing games.
There's a lot of good racing games out there, and now you can play Forza on PlayStation. So there you go. Maybe it'll be on Switch too.
That would be cool as well. That would be kind of a mic drop too, because that game looks pretty good. Man, I gotta go race some cars. This is exciting.
Did a racing wheel launch with Gran Turismo 2 on the PlayStation 1? Did they have racing wheels back then?
Oh, I bet they did.
I bet they did too, because they had flight sticks around that time. So it makes sense they'd have a racing wheel.
Yeah, I think they did, because there's discussion online about what the best racing wheel for PlayStation is. Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure if you have to like hack that in there or not, but like I think it does support steering wheels, which like having played with some of these, like I will say it almost always feels really cool to have one of those.
Absolutely.
I had one for Gran Turismo 3 or 4, I think. And that was another like, holy shit sort of experience. Because that was the one that I had, I think it was like a Logitech or something like that, had the like force feedback, meaning where like if you hit a turn in a certain way, or like if you are turning very hard, like you could feel it in the wheel, it like has friction on you.
I need it. I need that.
It's so cool. It felt like I can't believe this is real in a way. That like even still, I just set up my racing wheel again today.
What's the name of it again? What's the brand?
It's a Thrustmaster, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is.
I can't believe they would do that.
They know what they're doing.
I know. It's just like, why not the Steer Master? Why not the Turn Master?
Thrust.
Anything else?
Those were already taken. Need Thrustmaster.
Yeah, good Lord. A T300.
A Thrust 300?
The T300. So yeah, I guess the Thrust 300, huh?
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting game. It was really fun revisiting this one. And I think it's normally when we talk about these games, it's like we're looking back at okay games that I think, time was either cruel to when it came out, or the people were just like the experience of actually playing it at the moment was not very good. Maybe it's better in hindsight, or there's something we can appreciate about it. Whereas like playing one of these where it's like racing games have come so far from this moment that it's really strange to play one of the like founding fathers of the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see like we have really come a long way, like it's probably similar to playing like Medal of Honor or something like that from the PlayStation 1 and being like, oh my God, I can't believe this was it at a certain point.
It's the granddaddy of all those first-person shooters.
Yeah, for real. A lot of the people who worked on Medal of Honor went on to do COD. They were like Call of Duty people. So truly like one of the forebearers.
Yep.
Anyway, MLL, thank you for suggesting this game.
Yeah, thank you. It's fun.
Hello gamers, it's me Chase, and I'm here to hold your hand through the outro, if that's all right. If you'd like to interact with the podcast, you can do so at podtimism.com. It's got a list of all the episodes that we've done, games that we've covered, and also has a link to suggest a game if you want us to play one that you think we might like, whether that is good games or not. I recently started playing a game that I'll talk about eventually from said list.
Whoa.
Not for good games, but just as a little treat for me.
All right.
Yeah. If you want to help out the show, there's a couple things you can do. One of them is to review it on like a podcatcher of your choice. Helps get the algorithm churning a little bit. But definitely the better thing is to just show it to a friend and be like, hey, I like this podcast and maybe you do too. Natural growth is the easiest way to grow. Mm-hmm. So yeah, thank you, Scout Wilkinson, for your hard work on our podcast artwork. It looks great. And she did a great job and I like looking at it. All right. Okay. Sue me. We are also a part of the TWG network, a collection of, I would say, like-minded podcasts, I suppose. And they're all very good. You should check them out. We've got some good ones over on the Discord. So hit a link on the Discord. You can check out, Into the Aether or Girl Mode or Frog of the Week or NPC.zip, Paws and Claws, us.
We got so many hits in the Worst Garbage catalog.
Oh, we got so many hits in the Ludicrous catalog. Yeah, so go give it a look. It's a fun place. Anyway, hey, if you hear nothing else, hear this. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
We're in a new space now. We're transitioning from different life stages, and yet VGP remains. So thank you for supporting us in that endeavor, and thank you for listening and hanging out and keeping it right, and just doing it right.
Hell yeah!
So thank you so much for listening. David, do you have any gaming wisdom for us?
Ooh. Yeah, the space may change, but just keep the vibes the same. Keep the vibes rolling.
Sure.
If they're good, you can bring the vibes with you. Christen a new space with your vibeness.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, David.
You feeling it?
It's a new space. It's a new time. It's a new vibe. It's a new jam, and I'm excited to see what this one has. It's sort of unfortunate that we didn't hit exactly 250 in the old one, so that we could really, just turn the page on a new chapter. But yeah, we're almost there. Maybe with the test episodes and the Lost Near Automata episode, we can count that.
It probably counts. Yeah, we're probably already there. Full number of episodes.
Yeah, good God. I was but a young lad, it feels like. I know, we haven't been around for that long, but, just the shift in, life space is so weird to think about.
It's been a lot. More changes to come.
More changes to come. I hadn't played Hades when we started it. Or maybe I had. Maybe by that point I had.
Was Hades out?
I don't think so. I think I had played early access, but I hadn't played the actual game.
Well, when we started, neither of us had played Nier Automata.
Shit, true.
I hadn't played any FromSoft games.
Oh my God. Yeah, I
forget
that that's
pre-FromSoft era.
Yeah, kind of a recent development. Good for you. That's great.
Here we are, now beating Nightmare Cream Grim.
Oh God, forgot about him.
He's a cursed creature. He's all sloppy.
I will redefine the sourest of creams.
That's his goal, is just redefining what a sour cream is, because he's the sourest of all.
Yeah, I think he wants to take back the phrase sour cream because it is, I will say, I think we really fucked up in naming sour cream.
What do you not think it's sour?
No, I think we should name it anything else.
What about tart cream?
That's closer, I guess. Sour suggests Trolley Bright Crawler's gummy worms to me.
Okay, now all you're doing is just showing how processed food pilled you are, Chase. Back in the day when they just had cream and they didn't have trolley night crawlers, that was sour. Your taste buds have just been blown to fucking smithereens by the snack lobby. By
Red 15 is fucking up. I'm just saying we need to live in a modern era, and I think we need to name sour cream something else because it doesn't sound good. It also sounds gross. Sour cream sounds bad.
If you say it like that, it does. Come on, man.
I'm just saying it like the name.
You said it like this: sour cream.
Yeah,
you put an emphasis on the cream.
That's the name of the thing. I can't get away from.
So I'm just saying, you're trying to incept some opinions into the way you were saying that.
How about tart sauce, everybody?
Tart sauce, white tart sauce.
Or just a brand new thing.
Tarty milk product.
Fun in a way. How about Grim? How about we just start calling it Grim?
Grim sauce?
Yeah. Grim sauce.
That sounds like something that McDonald's would make for some reason.
Ooh, I don't
you know why? Because they had that Grimace thing, the Grimace burger. They'd have Grim sauce. You add a Grim sauce to the Grimace shake to make it Grimace colored.
I don't think I want sour cream anywhere near any McDonald's product. I don't think any of them need sour.
This is not sour cream, Chase. This is Grim sauce. Please.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. That's the old name.
It is
I can't
purple.
do that one anymore.
It is Grim sauce.
Oh, but that doesn't make this any better. Purple sour cream is pretty brutal.
It's neon purple.
All right. We'll see you next week when we have a better name for all this.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
TWG, the worst garbage, online.